There is something which school and college might not teach you, and that is why I am here. You're watching this informative video on Ferils World playlist. So before we begin this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to share it with your friends because this would be helpful. To be successful, you need to drop the baggage. Now what does this mean? To understand this, have you ever traveled by train? Have you ever bought a ticket, packed your bags and climbed a train? When you have climbed a train, ever has the ticket master asked you that how much your bag weighs? Be it 15 kg, 20 kg, 25 kg. Did he ever ask you? No, right? Now, have you ever been by an auto? When you climb an auto, does the auto person ask you that what's in your bag and how much does it weigh? No, right? But now imagine if you are traveling by a flight and you have to catch a plane, and when you go to the airport, what happens? They ask you that how much your bag weighs. Why? Because if you want to fly, you have to drop the baggage. If you're on the ground, you want to walk, how much ever weight you have, it doesn't matter. But if you want to succeed, you have to leave the baggage. Have you ever seen a rocket flying? What happens when a rocket flies when it goes upward? It has 3 to 4 parts. So when it goes upward, when it flies a little higher, the first part gets separated. When it goes a little higher from that point, the second parts get separated, and this is the point when it gets thrust and it goes more higher. So what does this mean? That more higher you want to go, the lighter you have to be. When you are heavy, you can't fly higher. And this is the principle of life, that if you want to succeed, if you want to go higher, you need to ignore. Ignoring is more important than learning. Have you ever been on a hike? Well, few months back I had been on a hike to Kedarnath, which was an 18 kilometers incline hike. Now you would say it was just 18 kilometers, but even with 18 kilometers of incline hike, we kept all our luggages in the hotel room or the cloak room, and we had a small bag which only had the emergency utility items like toothbrush, toothpaste and few medical items and undergarments for the next day to change and a pair of clothes. So what does this mean? Higher you want to go, the lighter you have to be. So when you don't want to carry so much of luggage in the road to success, then why do you want to carry so much in your heart? And for this, the first step is to ignore. We all have encountered people who are negative and who talks bad about us, who drains our energy, who criticizes us, who belittle us. But for our mental wellness and for our personal growth, it is important that we ignore this type of people and stay unaffected by them. If you hang out with negative people and expect positive changes in your life, this is not going to happen, and this would bring you to your lowest standard and which would not help you to grow and to succeed in life. So who are the 6 types of people and how do we ignore them? The first one is hopelessly hostile drama queen. Now we all have friends who are drama queen, colorful, charismatic, compelling, and who sweeps us into their personal melodrama. So this friend would come to you and would ask you to solve some urgent problem, and so you do. And after you solve one problem, the other problem comes, and then the other problem. And then you understand the problems are the way of life, and these people just need the audience. They crave attention and they create problems so that they can have control over you. By responding to their demands, your life becomes hijacked by their daily dramas. They may seem that they are weak and helpless, but they are the biggest manipulators. Drama queens craves for attention and admiration, but they can't or won't give you back. Psychiatrists say that this drama queen's behavior is wired into their brain, and this can be for the various reasons, maybe because of genetic combo, trauma, or the environmental factor. So how can you deal with them? The first one is to set boundaries. If they treat you as 911 hot helpline and they call you up any time of the day and ask you for your help, you should set a strict boundaries of your availability. Avoid asking them how they are feeling because they just need audience and they just want to vent out their problems to you. So avoid it. Don't reward their drama. If you try to keep them happy all the time, that is not good for you. So if they come up to you, you just say that, okay, I feel so sorry for you, but I have got some work to do. Replenish yourself, recharge yourself after an encounter by a walk, meditation, or blast your favorite music on your headphones. Distance yourself. If every other thing fails and you feel that you are end of the rope, then keep yourself away from them. The second on the list is a person you have tried to please 100 times. Now, you being a good hearted person, you like your friends, the other people around you to be happy, and you try your whole efforts to make the other person happy and to appreciate you. But the other person always belittles you, criticizes you, and doesn't look at your efforts. You are treated just as a doormat and you're not appreciated for what you're doing. You have gone out of your way, you have gone beyond your way to help that person, but that person is not just appreciating you. So, how can you deal with them? To deal with this, ask your own self why. Why are you pleasing the other person? What is the reason behind this? Are there any insecurities within you? Would it be something like if you don't please the person would leave your friendship? So you have to go to yourself and ask yourself why. Why am I doing this? Why am I pleasing this person? And after even pleasing the person is not appreciating. So what is the reason behind it? Assess your priority. What are your priorities? What are the things that you want to do? Why do you always have to please the other person? And why do you always have to say yes? And sometimes when it's needed, you also need to say no. Speak up for what you want. When you speak up for your own want, it's not called demand, it is called voicing up. So you can always say that what you feel, what you want, what you have in your heart, and you don't have to feel ashamed or feel bad about it. Learn to say no. This is something which is very important, for which even for me it took a lot of time. You don't need to make any excuse, or you don't need to make up some stories to say no. Just say a simple no, or no thank you. It needs lots of practice, but once you do it, your life would be at peace. Third one on my list for which you have to ignore are naysayers. Now, naysayers are a person which Mahatma Gandhi says that first they will ignore you, then they will laugh at you, then they will fight with you, and then you will win. Is there anyone in your life like this who are discouraging you from pursuing your goals and to succeed in life? When you share something important or when you share about your goals, they laugh at you jokingly and say it's impossible. Or they sabotage you when you try to cultivate a new habit or when you try to quit a bad habit. If there are people who won't allow you to reach to your highest point, then ignore this kind of people, naysayers. Ways to deal with naysayers: redirect them. If this kind of people try to give their unsolicited opinions and advices to you, politely you can tell them that thank you so much, but I don't need your advice. In fact, you can focus on your life. Give them credence. When they have something to say, listen to them and say that, okay, I'll take your opinions into consideration, and why waste your energy in arguing with them, which you can use in a more positive way? Answer their objection. If they are talking way beyond their knowledge, then challenge them. Do your homework well and present them with the facts and not opinions that supports your approach. Fourth one, eliminate them. If they're constantly bringing you down and pulling down your energy, then stop talking to them. So the fourth on my list are the manipulators. Now these manipulators are very smart. They may try to show that they are weak, but they are not. They would try to convince people with their thoughtless opinions, and people would follow them, people would agree to them because they are good at manipulating. Manipulators prioritize their own needs above the other. When they are in need, they would come very easily to you, manipulate your mind, and you would try to help them. But when you are in need, this person would not be available for you for one reason or for other. Because you're good at heart, this kind of people would manipulate you, manipulate your thoughts. So beware of this kinds of friendship and this kind of people who would intimidate you and your thoughts and would try to manipulate you. So do not accept this behavior and follow the steps. First is avoid self-blame. So now you are not the problem. You are being manipulated. You are being manipulated so that you feel bad about yourself. So stop blaming yourself. The second one is put focus on them by probing questions. Do you think that this is reasonable enough, or do you think that this is what should be done? By probing questions, you would be making the manipulator think that you are a stronger one and your mind cannot be easily manipulated. By probing questions also, because this manipulators does think thoughtlessly, and by probing questions you would be making a stand by questioning them so that they have to answer you, and this won't be an easy thing for them to manipulate you. Ask for time. When a manipulator asks something, they would expect you to answer immediately. And when you ask for time, let me think about it, that means that you are taking an advantage of leveraging the time. And so you can decide on it whether you want to say yes or a no. Keep your distance. Now this is one basic thing that even I have learned, that when you keep a distance from a manipulator and you watch from far, you would get to know how the person is, how that person faces one person at one situation and the other person in another situation, because manipulators dwells in different personalities. Maybe sometimes the person may show as a very weak person but fearlessly aggressive to the another, or may show that he's polite to one person but he is not with the other. So this is all that you can learn from far about the person by just watching them from distance. It's not your job to save them or to protect them, and if you can't deal with them, stay away from them. And the fifth one on the list are the stubborn ones. Now, stubborn ones are the ones who would try to change you and try to change who you are, which you won't realize, but after a few months or few days, your family member or your friends would say that you have changed, and this is because of this person. And what are the ways to deal with them? Well, there is only one way, is to ignore what they have to say. You ignore their opinion. You don't have to take all the opinions by your heart, by your mind, and you don't have to do things that they tell you to do. You can always say no. By saying no means that you have your own priorities and you know where you are and you don't want to change yourself. Sixth on my list is unforgiving friend. The one who doesn't forgive us for our mistakes. We all have a friend who knows about our past, who uses against us and doesn't forgive us. Mistakes are part of growing, but when someone holds that mistake and doesn't allow you to grow, then that is one big red flag in a friendship or in a person you should be interacting with, and you should ignore that person. Ignoring always doesn't mean that you hate that person or you want to harm them. It just means that you want your own well-being. It's a simple math calculation. When you cut down the negativity from the other person, you make a room for a positivity for yourself. Thank you so much, friends, for watching this video where I have showed you about 6 kind of people you need to ignore. I hope this video was informative, and if you have liked my content, don't forget to like, don't forget to share to your friends, and don't forget to subscribe, which is just right below this. And see you next week. Until then,